This video brought to you by Coffee Brand Coffee. It's the best coffee branded coffee that's coffee that's branded coffee. It's coffee. It's really good coffee. You should check it out. Go to coffeebrandcoffee.com. Use promo code VETS. That's VETS VETS. Get 10% off. Coffee!
I have a knife in my foot, Sergeant.
Oh, yes. Of course. That's it. The knife. What is your name, soldier?
Spitty Riker.
No. Your name is Private Idiot. Do you know why?
Because I have a knife in my foot.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Knife Hands here on Vets Talkin. How's it going, Keri?
You have a great opening.
Thank you. That is all credit to Mr. Bug for creating that and his creativity. We love it. I love it. How you doing?
I'm good. Your opening got me pumped up. I'm excited now. It's gonna be fun.
Hell yeah. That's what I love to hear. Welcome to Vets Talkin. We're gonna have a good conversation here tonight, everybody. I think that anyone who's familiar with the channel, we do love talking about politics and pop culture and all the mix of how woke and the extreme left have been destroying it all. And so we have an excellent perspective from somebody who's seen both sides of that right here in Miss Keri Smith, or Mrs. I'm sorry, right?
Mrs. Keri Garcia.
Oh,
my
okay.
married
All
name.
right.
Yeah. But
Okay,
sounds like,
all right.
sounds like an ice
Gotcha.
cream.
Well,
So.
I'm just gonna call you Keri. We'll go with that.
Sounds like an ice cream.
Big Rob, 75th Ranger Regiment retiree. How you doing, man?
It's good, man. Good to see you. Good to meet you, Keri. I always love this day because I know the weekend is almost here. So this is a good day. Yes.
It's a good day where we get to get a lot of stuff off of our chest when it comes to all this bullshit that's been going on. Keri, actually, hold on, gotta make sure I do it right. Knife Hands is always our typically political show, whereas we have Skin Max Saturday, which is always more pop culture, anything else we're just gonna get raunchy about. But yeah, I was like, because I remembered you. My memory of you is from FNT more than anything else. When I think of you, that's what I connect to. So when it was Horny Alf who set this up, I'm thinking, oh man, she can only come on Thursday, but that's our political show. And then I'm like, wait a minute, no, she's gonna be perfect for this show. This is gonna be a great damn conversation. Somebody who managed to spend all that time in that left-wing mentality and managed to escape from the cult. That is what we now call woke. But used to be what you called SJW, right?
SJW, social justice. Yes. Now it's most often called woke, although I have a feeling it's going to go through another name shift at some point because now woke is starting to be sometimes being used in broader ways to where it's sort of losing effectiveness when describing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, woke.
That's actually one of the things I was thinking about when I was trying to go through my brain and how this conversation is going to go down. And one of the things that popped in my head is I'm going to go through and I'll say how to chat here in a second though. But it is interesting that it's the same type of ideology, but really has just gotten more extreme and the name has just changed. but it's the
Yes.
same thing, right? I mean, it's the hippies back in the 60s and 70s. It was progressives. Progressive is still a name that's been around for a long time, but and they've gone with, you know, the social justice warrior was most recent until it turned into woke now. But it's the same thing, essentially.
I'm starting to think you're right. One thing that happened to me is, having been in that cult for 20 years, my perception of things is skewed quite a bit. And so it's taken me, I mean, it's been years now since I've been out of it. Like, oh my goodness, 7 years now. And
We congratulate you for your sobriety.
thank you. Not my chip. But I keep
Yeah.
looking back at stuff, and I just did a video. I was talking about a lot of the protests happening on the college campuses, and how some people I had seen comparing them to the Vietnam War protesters. And I was saying, no, I was laughing, like, no, these kids are narcissists. They don't know why they're out there. They can't articulate. I don't even believe they're truly anti-war. I just think they're following whatever the tribe is doing at the moment.
Yep.
And then somebody in the comments said, Keri, you might want to revisit the Vietnam War protesters as well, with your new perspective on things, because the opinion that you have of them, you might find out that some of those protesters are very similar to these college kids too. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I got to go back and look at that and see what I think about it now. There's a lot of things like that where I have to go back and look at it with new eyes and say, is the opinion that I have, is that just because that was programming, or is that my real opinion, you know?
Well,
So,
and that's why I use the predicate also when I was saying that the name has changed, but it's gotten more extreme.
yes.
And that's my point. It's gotten more extreme, but also it's way more ignorant. There's absolutely that. You're
Yes.
right. They are the I support the current thing crowd.
Yes.
And, you know, it's whatever, you know, it's the Ukraine flag before, and now it's Free Palestine flag in their freaking bios. But yeah, it's you know, but yeah, that's my point though, is that it's essentially the same ideology, the leftist ideology, but it has gone through changes and gotten more extreme, and then the name just changes along the way, but it still has the same origin of this leftist.
Yes, I think it has the same origin for sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll get down and get deeper onto that conversation. I want to say hi to this amazing chat in here. Chunk the Punk, my fellow hell diver, what is up, buddy? Popping over here. I've never seen you over here in the chat. Been playing with him over on Fear the Beardos channel. Welcome, Chunk. Vince Giangrassi, what's up, man? I don't think I've seen you in chat either. Welcome to Vets Talkin'. And shout out to anyone who is over on Rumble. I'm not seeing any chat right now, but I can highlight your chat now, just a FYI. And here's an FYI too, guys. I was telling Keri this backstage, explain what we do with the drinking game rules. We do have Joseph A with the $20, but because I want to have a good and articulate conversation, I don't want to be silly blackout drunk in 20 minutes here, guys. If you are going to drop more super chats, I will read them, obviously, but I'm going to do this one shot. Help me to loosen up a little bit, always helps. But I'll hold off, because there's going to be any more $20 super chats, because that's what we do, $20 or more, and I do shots, drinking game rules. Everyone out there can play along as well, but I'm going to do the shots later after we have the conversation with, I was going to say Gary. I am sorry.
It's fine. People call me Harry, Gary.
Yeah. I'll call you Harry Gary next time. All right. So that being said, though,
Harry,
okay.
Gary,
Harry Gary. All right. So Joseph A says it has begun. Watching this while stuck in traffic. Wreck on I-4. Not me. I'm fine. I'm glad to hear that, Joseph. Very sorry. I did reply to him in there. I hope at least if you're still stuck in there, hopefully we can carry on and help you out with your boredom as you're stuck there in traffic. That being said, you are starting things off right, so you get this.
It has begun.
Cheers to you, Joseph A. All right. Let me get through these other chats here real quick. Let's see. Shadow Chaser was dropping some lyrics here, and I was very concerned for his mental well-being when I was reading. The third one down, this apparently are lyrics.
Porcupine Tree. Yeah.
Porcupine Tree Waiting. I've never heard of Porcupine Tree. I like the movie Waiting, but it's much less depressing than when you typed in there, buddy. Anyways, I appreciate the comments. I'm not sure what the relevance is, though, but
Maybe it's just entertaining the chat while we were backstage.
I
so.
guess.
Because the song is called Waiting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get
Okay. Thanks, Keri. And Keri's in the chat. Mo Zamboni, my twin. What's up, man? Oh, good. I like this. God bless the defenders of our country, whether in the field or in public discourse. We love you all. Thank you, Mo. I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. Gung Ho Mac. What's up, Gung Ho Mac? Let's see. GR's in the house. How's it going, man? Venom Blade. How you doing, man? And Horny Alf. Horny Alf is in the hospital, by the way. And in fact, I was freaking out a little bit, Keri, earlier because I had the stream all set up with your thumbnail and everything, and I could not get a hold of Alf to confirm if you were going to be on or not until like an hour before the show started. So I wasn't able to even upload the show because I'm like, I don't want to set the stream up with Keri as the main guest if I don't know if she's going to be here or not. And I was sweating bullets, but thankfully he got back from the hospital. Apparently he has what's that stones? What's that called?
Kidney stones?
Kidney stones, yeah. And I've known people who've gone through that, and I know it sucks. So prayers to Horny Alf. It sounds like he's doing better, but he's on some pain meds right now. Hopefully you get over that here pretty soon there, Alf. And
drink more water, Alf. Jeez, come on, you know better.
What the hell's wrong with you? Freaking Air Force doesn't understand anything. In a sea of rabbits, what is up? Clinton Hausch, how are you doing, Clinton Hausch? Thank you for being here. Dragon Lake is over on the Rumble side. Hey, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Woke is a joke. You're all right. It's mostly an assault on foundation of America and its founder, Christ our Lord. You are absolutely correct there. Thank you very much. GJJ, member for 2 months, says, hail. Welcome, GJJ. Joseph A. Oh, yeah, we got his super chat. And we got $2 over here by the Prophical John Morrow. Welcome for $2. Says better than Beardo. I appreciate this. Thank you. Make sure you go on Beardo stream and tell him that as well.
You talking about hell diving?
I don't know. I'm going to assume he's talking about my streaming skills.
Okay.
Star Wars dog, Marine Corps vet. What's up, man? Change your socks and you'll be good. I'm not talking about
that's probably to Elf
for stones. Bad take, Tina Bojan. How are you doing, darling? And that is all for now. Okay, got a bunch of people over here watching. Thank you for everyone who's here. All right, Keri. So I would love to hear your background. I know you told your story plenty of times before, but I think we have plenty of people here who are not familiar with you. Rob here even admitted, and I'm calling you out. I was not familiar with you. So if you could tell us your story. You already explained that you spent 20 years in the what you yourself call the SJW cult, and then you managed to escape from that about 7 years ago. So if you could give us a little breakdown how all that went down.
Yeah, I'm aging myself, right, with all those numbers. I got indoctrinated in the late 90s in college at Duke University. So at that time, well, first of all, let me define woke, because I always hear these people, these leftists, these people in my old belief system who are like, nobody can define woke. What's woke? Woke, which was a term that we used, that woke people used. Now suddenly they don't like it because they say it's a pejorative. Same thing happened with SJW. We coined that term. Social justice warriors coined that term. And then as soon as people started using it to criticize the ideology, they say, oh, it's a pejorative. But woke, it's used to be called social justice. It's a belief system with roots in Marxism and postmodernism, but that doesn't really matter that much. At least when I'm explaining it to people, like to normies and stuff, I'm like, it doesn't matter if you don't know much about that. But Marxism is a good thing to start with in terms of how to explain it. Marxism was basically a belief system that said the best way to look at the world is it's a competition for wealth between class groups. And we need to redistribute the wealth and the means of production between class groups, and then we'll reach equality. This ideology has mutated from that. And it says, no, 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 the best way to look at the world is as a competition for power instead of wealth, power between identity groups. And if we redistribute the power between identity groups, then we'll reach equality and end depression. And so it's similar, but it's about power and identity rather than being about, money and, what class group you're in. And when I picked it up in the late 90s, it was presented to me as just a kind of as progressivism, as liberalism.
Right.
And all of my not all of my classes, I was a biological anthropology and anatomy major, so it was the hard sciences. It wasn't in any of those classes, but it was in all of my social science classes. My minor was in women's studies. And so I was taking critical race theory classes, queer theory,
They
women's
had critical
studies.
race theory back in the 90s.
Yes, they developed new names for these things along the way.
Okay.
And so it's continually evolving. Like, for example, since CRT, just like with woke and SJW, they're like, oh, those are pejoratives, don't use those, or that's not what it is, or they quibble over definitions. Then they try to move to a new word. They do the same thing with anything that we are effective at pointing to and explaining to normies, like why this is bad. Then they abandon that term and move on to another one. So, for example, with CRT, Chris Rufo and others have done a really great job of explaining what's wrong with CRT, and now they've moved away from even that one, and they've been pushing DEI. Okay, but now DEI is also becoming known for being, for what's wrong with it, the problems with it, and so they're moving even away from DEI. So you see them pushing things like SEL, like that's this
hell's
constant
that?
like social emotional learning.
The fuck?
I know, and
What?
that's. Yeah, but it's just a shell game. Like, if they can keep you arguing about terms and definitions, this is why James Lindsay says never argue with a communist, because you'll spend the whole argument arguing over definitions and never get anywhere, because they just will fight you on everything. They're all like, that's not exactly what it is. And this is, I had a guy the other day who just wanted to spend forever arguing about whether or not Marxism is truly to blame for all of the deaths that resulted from communism. And well, Marx himself never explicitly said that you should murder. And it's like, oh, but his ideology is the root of what ended up happening. Every time it's been implemented, this is what we see happen. So it doesn't matter to me if he wrote that out or not. They just want to quibble over definitions and over terms and waste your time. And so, yeah, where was I? Oh, well, the definition. It's about woke it's an ideology that says, hey, the best way to look at the world is we're all in a power struggle. Identity groups. We're all in a power struggle. And that's a really collectivist way of looking at the world. That's not individualist. It's collectivist, just like white supremacy, which they bang on about all the time, but that's collectivist as well. It's like, let's look at people as a collective, as a racial group, and instead of treating them as an individual. And that's at odds with liberalism. That's not liberalism.
No, it's not. Okay, so it gets very convoluted, and I try to have these conversations with people because I do my own research and trying to learn about stuff, but I'm by no means an academic or anything like that. I learn from other people. Like, I've learned from Mark Levin about history of progressivism and such like that and stuff like that. But it really gets so confusing when you try to explain, because you can explain, okay, well, there's this progressivism, which actually goes way back to, I can't remember how long after the Constitution came out. There's a guy, the father of it, simply he just was anti-Constitution is what he was. His idea of progressivism meant that he thinks that the Constitution and these laws of our land does not allow our country to progress. So really, it was an ideology to get rid of the Constitution, because he thought that the Constitution locked our government in away from being able to make these changes that he considered to be progressive. And And don't quote me
I
on
need to
the.
read more about that. So,
Oh man, yeah. Mark Levin wrote a whole book on it. I'm sure if you look up Mark Levin, Father of Progressivism, I watched at least an hour special where he explained all that. But yeah, and that's where the origins of these aspects of this ideology, which, like I said, gets so damn confusing. People are not even aware of. Because when you end up mixing in this guy who created the progressivism movement, which is really anti-constitutional, then you also end up mixing in what you're saying. You got the Marxism as well.
yes.
But I think that really what it ends up coming down to is all these different types of ideologies. When you have Marxism, progressivism, and I'm sure there's other isms out there that I'm not even thinking of right now, they end up merging into what is now the modern political left. So I think it's like a culmination, and I'm kind of just pulling this off the top of my head right now. What do you think about that, Keri?
No, I think you're right. They definitely pull things in, like social justice or woke. I like to describe it as an umbrella, and because it's a belief system, it's all about identity groups and power. Then they have pulled in all these other movements underneath the umbrella for each identity group. So they took the carcass of identity-based movements that had achieved their definable goals. So movements that set out to change things in the law, to end inequality in the law. But then they did that, and the movement was still around. And they got the carcass of those movements that got sucked up into woke. And so that's why you have like there's the feminist part, there's the what used to be the civil rights movement part, the CRT, the Black part. There's the gay, lesbian, queer theory part. There's even now like the fat part, and we know which if you look at the fat acceptance movement, they've adopted all the language and terminology and everything of woke. They talk about the oppressors and the oppressed. They say that skinny people are the oppressors and that fat people are the oppressed. They talk about intersectionality and how no one will be free until everyone and all the oppressed groups and all these identity groups are free. They actually say, I'm not kidding, I've interviewed some people in the fat acceptance movement. They say that losing weight is racist. It's a part of the capitalist patriarchy. I'm not kidding.
Well,
so
they also say math is racist, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But any category of identity, they try and suck it up under that umbrella. So it's all a part of woke, which gives them more numbers, and they push this solidarity thing across all those different identity categories.
And I hate to break up this amazing conversation with this, but it is absolutely true because
everything is racist. Everything is racist according to me.
It was a perfect opportunity to use that. Real quick, we do have our diversity here now because we do have a female Marine and a Black Army soldier here. Welcome, guys.
I had to fill those quotas,
That's right. I appreciate it.
Sorry,
how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, have you met Keri before?
No, actually, I don't.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I liked you in the intro video.
Pretty much how I am too. So.
Gal is our green-haired anti-liberal, and she has to put that in there because she loves having a green hair, but she does look like a liberal with it.
Yeah, I have to preface it somehow, and like, I was very fed up with things, and I wanted to show the world that like, don't judge a book by its cover. We're not all crazy type of feeling towards it. And like, even I judge people like that too. Like I see it. I know exactly what my hair tells people. The shiny in the wild is normally avoided. So yeah, I just decided that I needed to, when I started talking in chats and stuff.
Don't let them take it. That's the thing.
Yes, exactly. Like take it back.
Some based, young, very strong conservative women at my church who have brightly colored hair, and you never know. I know why it's a good rule of thumb, but it doesn't mean it's always the case. So I love that.
Because if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then sometimes it might be a screaming banshee liberal.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you mean. I've seen other people, other women out there who like to color their hair, and they're not all crazy.
I get like comments on like videos and stuff that they're just like, thank God, like we need to take this back. It used to be so punk to have like rebelling against the system. And I love my hair, and people instantly think that I'm a liberal, and I'm not. So it was just like, yeah, showing the world we're
There
okay.
you go.
Do you ever do man on the street interviews? Because the thing about that hair is it could make you a good Trojan horse. Like you could get into places. And,
Ooh.
I've
you know.
thought about that, and I'm like, I'm not the best actress.
okay.
Yeah, I'm
It's hard
trying
for
to think
me.
right now if that would not work. I know.
Yeah. And
It would not work
honestly,
for
like if I
Keri.
put my mind to it, I probably could, but I just need to get out of Denver. I
Yeah.
can't stand it here.
Let me,
I don't know. Yeah.
I got to hit up a couple things here real quick. Like I said earlier, I will honor the super chats with the shots a little bit later, but I do have Kratos El Grados drop 50.
Kratos.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Over on the stream element side, so thank you for circumventing Papa Susan. Says, hey Adam, great to see Keri Smith on. Here's some support for the show. That's a breath of fresh air. God knows we need it. Thank you very much, Kratos. I appreciate the hell out of that. And I will give you 2 shots in about 45 minutes or so. Let me run through here a couple also here. Motolicious for $2 says biology is pretty prejudice. I guess so.
It really is.
Yeah.
It discriminates terribly.
Yeah. Thank you for the $2. Laszlo the Instigator, member for 1 month, says anyone left straight to jail. Like anyone who is on the left?
That's my assumption.
I don't know if I agree with that,
He's
but there
also
are
an
definitely
instigator.
he is the instigator. I appreciate it. Larry, our African American descent diversity hire. How you doing, man?
I'm good. And Keri, just in case you're wondering, he said that because he knows I absolutely hate being called African American.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought you put it in your bio. I'm kidding.
Gotta get that signal out there. It's a beacon.
Yeah, it's well, I will say my situation is a bit different from Gal because I can't change what makes people identify me as a victim, you know, and it's frustrating to see my own people getting sucked into this nonsense, whether they're paid or unpaid, and that's all you see on TV because there's so many more of us that aren't with any of this crap, don't believe in any of it, did not vote for well, certain people who are sitting in the White House right now, but according to the news, you know, over 90% of us voted for him, which wasn't true. So and also I grew up in California. I lived in Los Angeles, and of course, you know, went to college, went to back in graduated in 2018, and I saw up close what was going on in the colleges. And for me, as an English major, I had to take a class on socialism and Marxism. The English department, the staff was 98% socialist, and they literally held our diplomas hostage until we took that class. And the only thing that I took from it was the main problem with socialists, Marxists, and communists. The main problem that they have is with each other, as if we didn't know that from World War II between Stalin and Hitler. But the main problem with them is they all know that it doesn't work, but they think that their version of
Yes.
communism, Marxism, they think their version is the version that's going to work. So it's arrogance and it's insanity, literally.
Yes. I was just looking. It's nice to meet you. And I was just looking for some stats because you reminded me of this. Now these are almost 10 years old now, so I'm sure it's even worse. But from 2016, I remember this stat because it was in Jonathan Haidt's book. He's got a great book called The Righteous Mind. I absolutely recommend this book. And he mentioned this stat that if you go to a college campus, they surveyed college professors, and 18% of social scientists self-identified as Marxists, compared to only 5% who self-identified as conservatives. That was in 2016. So you know that number of who identify as Marxist is higher.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the transition we went through, what was I watching? I was just watching somebody yesterday, I think. And they were talking to somebody who was a Jew, and was talking about how, she has lived here in America for like 20 something years. Her family was a Jewish family, came from former Soviet Russia. And she said that of people that she's known for a long time, she never had any true issues of anti-Semitism. The whole background is that her family warned her that, all around the world, we are a hated people. And she said that her entire life, she never understood that until October 7th. And then flipped on a dime, her friends just immediately turned into these incredible anti-Semites out of nowhere. And she couldn't believe it. But she went back. She said, my mom was right. I couldn't believe it. And yeah, I've been saying for a while, Keri, I didn't mention, Keri, I spent half my time in the Army in psychological operations. And wow. I tell people a lot that I see the PSYOP program. I see, really, when you look at anything that is a psychological operation or you look at the patterns. You look at the patterns of the messaging. When you see all those montages of all these multiple different news agencies, they'll say the exact same line over and over and over and over again. It's because they are being told to do that, because there is somebody who's saying this is a line that will help with our program, that will help get our message and make the people act the way that we want them to act. And when you see these commonalities, when you see it in pop culture, in politics, on commercials, in the music, you see the pattern and you see the PSYOP. And crap, I had an actual direct question I was going to ask you, Keri.
About Marxism and trying to remember.
In general, I think I was getting at the PSYOP, the programming that goes into why people think the way they think. And also trying to explain to people, like I've had this conversation with multiple people on our side, trying to they say, why do these people think this way? And I have to explain it. They live in an entirely different world where they're only getting one type of information, and they're told, don't even listen to anything else. It's racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic. Don't listen to that. Listen only to what we say, because everything else is dangerous, which is what Hitler did.
Yes.
That's why he burned the books. So what do you think about that, having as somebody who lived through that?
Well, I call it a cult because it functions the way you describe. I only listened to other social justice people. I've created my own echo chamber online. I systematically unfriended anyone who was conservative, even family members. And the messaging you get in that cult is that, yes, to even engage with someone on the right, but we didn't even say on the right. We just called them at a certain point, you guys saw after Trump won, they started calling everyone who voted for Trump in 2016 a Nazi. I don't know which words I'll say.
We're supposed to say Yahtzee, but
Yahtzee. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're playing.
That's totally what you said.
Yes, but yeah, to even engage with someone on the other side, or to engage with anyone who's not in the social justice cult, who doesn't agree with this belief system, is a power difference that you should not engage with. And they have all of these different phrases, catchphrases, and things that they repeat. I'm sure some of these are familiar to you guys, and they just repeat these to end conversation. So they'll say things like, check your privilege. That's kind of an old one now, but check your privilege, stay in your lane. It's not my job to educate you. I'm not going to talk with you unless you pay me for my emotional labor. All of these are just conversation ending. Oh yeah, they're serious about that one too, by the way. Some of them will put up links like, pay me here and I'll have this conversation.
Wow.
But I'm not doing free unpaid emotional labor for you, white person. Man. They use your whatever identity group you're in. If you're in any of the so-called oppressor groups, they'll use that. So for you, Larry, they would say, well, you're a man, so like they'll pick whichever one is the oppressor category, and they'll say that disqualifies you from, because you have more power than them, so therefore they're not going to engage in conversation with you because you have more power.
Yeah.
And it's just a way, like when you're in it though, it's hard to see. This is why it took me so long to get out of it, because you get into a cult really slowly, and you get out really slowly, because you don't realize all the ways in which you've been programmed. And I thought I had opinions on lots of things, and on different conservative commentators, and different policy issues, and I had lots of opinions that were not my opinions, and I didn't realize that until I got out of it. They were received opinions, and I had opinions about people like Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder, or people I had never listened to, but I thought I had an opinion about them without realizing that that opinion had been given to me.
Right.
And I hadn't done the work to hold that opinion. And I think that's part of the reason why they willingly go along with this kind of like, don't have discussions with people who disagree, because deep down, they know they can't defend their opinions. They haven't done the work to hold them. And so they get really anxious. And I would get like really angry and anxious when people challenged me, because I think deep down I didn't know what the F I was talking about. Like,
Well,
made me uncomfortable.
We use that matrix analogy all the time. It's, what they say, that, if somebody's been ingrained in the matrix for too long, then they will physically fight to maintain that reality. And you really do see that. You do see these people just lose their ever loving fucking mind when you present them with facts that they can't argue.
Yeah.
And they're literally fighting to maintain that reality.
Yeah, you can really decimate somebody's worldview. Like everything that they've been taught, that they've been raised to think, and the moment you push back just a little bit, I mean, you're about to disrupt their entire worldview. And I think people in general can't handle that. And I think one side is more resistant to that other perspective that I've seen. Like I can have a talk with anybody. I don't care which political side you're on. Like I just like to meet people and talk to people. And then when we start getting or approaching a topic that's somewhat controversial, I take it as like, like how do you think about this, or what do you think about this? And it's like a learning thing for me, and it's fun. But when you challenge somebody that doesn't have that same type of response to these situations, they get very defensive. They get you can see the physical changes in their body. They get uncomfortable. They get tense. They get annoyed. They start to squirm, and they get twitchy. And it's so bizarre to me. But I mean, you can really disrupt somebody's whole life just with a small little bit of pushback, or just even questioning. Now, even just saying, well, I'm just asking the question. Just saying that phrase now is like, oh my God, you're one of those. You're just asking the question. It's like, I just want to have a conversation. Is like, explain why you think the way you do. And like, well, I don't have to. The narcissism baffles me too. But
and Keri, I do. We still do need to, before you take off. I know we still do have a little bit of time left, but we still do need to get to your story on when that transition happened for you, when you were able to break away from that. But I did recall what it was that I wanted to make the point on, because I was talking about how the Jewish girl, how all of her friends just flipped on a dime, and I've said this for a while, that when you look at, and again, I look at, this tinfoil hat on, whatever, somebody wants to think this sounds ridiculous, whatever, but I think they've been conditioning this latest generation to be this extreme psychopath, following marching orders. No matter what they fucking say, they're gonna do anything. But they've been conditioned, this generation, which obviously started with the millennial generation, which unfortunately I am the first year of that millennial generation. I still want to punch myself every time I think about that. But now to the point where that generation, who is the participation trophy generation, you can get everything you want. Now that terrible generation is raising the new generation of these ultimate psychopaths, which really is almost like a sleeper cell type situation, where so we didn't even realize what was going on with all this conditioning until obviously once you get that one motivator, you get that one thing that hits, and that whole I support the current thing crowd all of a sudden triggers that sleeper cell marching orders, and they go and they follow their orders to the fucking dime, which explains again, like I said, this woman who had friends who never had any problem with her being a Jew until October 7th. It was like that was the marching order that went out. Now the sleeper cells activate. We now hate the Jews. What do you think about that?
So many things. I have well, first, to Rob's point, you were making me think about like the reason that they get so angry and that they can't let go of the ideology if you challenge them on a fact is because they substitute their opinions, they substitute ideology for their identity. They think it's who they are. And they if you challenge their ideology or their opinions, they honestly really truly feel personally
It's
attacked.
a personal attack, yeah.
That's why they personally attack you back, because they feel like they've been even, and you're like, I'm not personally I'm not doing ad hominem, dude. I'm not personally attacking you. I'm criticizing your stupid belief. But their beliefs are who they are. And so they feel personally attacked. And I mentioned that because I made a note here. There's this marriage and family therapist. His name is Jake Wiskerson, and he also runs a mental health for gun owners organization. It's called Walk the Talk America, because there's all these tricky issues around getting mental health if you support the Second Amendment. And this guy does amazing work around firearms and mental health issues. But he's also a marriage and family therapist. I think you guys would love him. I've interviewed him, and he explained this whole phenomenon about how they hold so tightly to their ideology as identity. And anyway, that's just a side note. You should totally have him on. But
I think I saw him on your show because, like, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, I remember him, because so many people, especially veterans, you can't say that you have any mental anything at all, or you're going to lose your guns. And it's just like, oh, I just keep remembering something that happened in my past, and sometimes like I just can't handle it. And you don't want to say that because the government wants to take our guns. So they're going to use that, just that tiny little crumb where, no, I'm not suicidal. I'm not any of those things. I'm not going to attack people. It's just sometimes I have these thoughts, and I don't want to take away from anyone who isn't a veteran, like civilians or anything, but like, especially with vets, you can't say anything because of so many different reasons. And then also you're going to get your guns taken away. And like, as a vet, that's one of the first things that you don't want taken away. So because it's your line of defense.
He is a great resource. So I'll send you his info after this in case you're interested, but he deals with all those issues. But I thought of him because what you were saying, Rob, about them, like all the incentives are for them to stay in the belief system, even when the belief system doesn't make sense. And if they start noticing, like in my case, I'll take it back to my story for a second, Adam. When I started noticing all these cracks in the foundation of my belief system, things that didn't make sense and things I couldn't ignore anymore, I went through, I was in the darkest time of my life, the darkest place I've ever been in, because if you think of your belief system as like a house, it wasn't like I was replacing one opinion, like a window of that house, like, oh, I've changed my mind on the minimum wage. Like, it wasn't one opinion. It was the whole belief system itself. Like, I raised my whole house to the ground. And that's hard for people to do, because then where do they start? Their whole frame for interpreting the world. If your frame for interpreting the world is like, the world is a competition for power among identity groups, and if only we could redistribute the power, then everything would be hunky-dory and, no oppression. And then things start to challenge that. It's like, then how do you interpret the world? What if you're wrong about everything? That's scary. And you got your identity wrapped into it. So that's like, it's really hard for people to leave cults of any kind. Like a belief system like that. And then what did you ask me? Psychopaths? Oh yeah. they have cluster B personality disorders, okay, which are like the the four of them classically they used to be called character disorders, but it's people with borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and I'm blanking on the fourth one for a second. But it's basically people who are called sociopaths, psychopaths. We've all heard about BPD recently with the Amber Heard trial. A lot of the people who are in this ideology, I believe, either have a lot of those cluster B traits already, or the longer they spend in the ideology, the more they pick up those traits and they learn to behave in those cluster B ways. They learn to behave, to act out, to be histrionic, to respond to things without empathy, to respond to things with aggression, to emotionally blackmail. I mean, look at what they're doing with the issue of, I'll try to be walk around this with my language, but the issue with children and what's considered affirming care and what's not. You know, they basically threaten self-deletion if you don't go along with the ideology. Well, that's something people with BPD do. You know, if you don't go along with this, you must want me to self-delete, you know. So I don't know if that answered your question, but you made me think of that. And
it answered mine, because I know I've met plenty of people with BPD, and that's textbook for them.
Yeah, and but yeah, to go on what I was asking about, and I'm very curious what you think about because when you think about that, I think that what you're describing is ways that they program people, and so I'm very curious your opinion on how. Like I said, I was talking about the sudden like activating a sleeper cell.
Oh, like activating.
Recently.
Yeah, do I think that could ever happen?
Well, I mean, just like recently with the example of October 7th, and I mean, we can come up with other examples as well, because you look at how this activation has happened on multiple occasions, and we call them, you know, loosely the I follow the current thing crowd. But yeah, with like October 7th, how suddenly someone's friends can all of a sudden be against this woman for being a Jew when she never had any thoughts of anti-Semitism come from these people.
Yeah, they definitely do. Whenever they get the marching orders on what the new thing is, they all fall in line. And a great example of that, if you don't believe that, is the COVID years. I mean,
yep, that's
at the beginning of those years. So there were, in my little town in Texas, in Georgetown, Texas, there were protests every Saturday against mandates. Okay, these were progressives out there. This is at the beginning. Progressives, hippie, you know, crystal wearing, you know, they don't trust big pharma, and they are for freedom for medical decisions and bodily autonomy and all this. And then over time, what you saw happen is the media and politicians and entertainers all started putting out the message, just repeated propaganda, that the left believes this and the right believes this, and the followers just trickled over to their tribe. But originally it wasn't a left-right thing. Your response to the mandates and stuff wasn't a left-right thing. It was an authoritarian individualism thing. And so I knew some conservative family members who fall pretty far on the authoritarian line, some of them, my aunt. And she was like all for the mandates because she just like loves authority and wants to be told what to do. And so, but then when the marching orders came out, you still saw those authentic, like sincere people stay in where they were at the beginning. But that was the minority. The majority of people went to where they were told to go. Where does left go? Where does right go? And they go with their tribe. And so the thing with your friend and, you know, being friends who never had a problem with her being a Jewish person, well, they just seize on different events and try to make one of them a thing. So this one's become now a thing with the college protests and everything. And so from the social justice or woke ideology, they don't really care about anti-war. They don't really care about bodily autonomy or pro-choice or any of this stuff. They're looking at it as which group in this scenario is more oppressed. And they're saying, okay, it's this group. And the Jews are the oppressors. And so that's how they're going to split every time. They're always going to go with the group there that they say is, well, that's how they get manipulated anyway. Is it's like, you got to come over here to support this oppressed group, and then they come and they go and do that, and it's fascinating, but it happens over and over. Those college kids, I watched video after video. They can't explain why they're out there,
Right.
and they don't know, but they were told to come out there, and they believe they're good people for being out there. And you know, if they were sincere, I would respect them a lot, but I think most of them are not. I think they're the same people that wore the pink pussy hats. They're the same people that did the BLM riots. They're the same people that called some of us grandma killers for our medical decisions. And then they're the same people who are out at the, you know, on the campuses now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I like, sorry, Adam.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
To the point of COVID, where they just kind of the switch flipped. I thought it was fascinating that in 2020, when Trump was still president, and whatever he called it, the hyper speed vaccine crap,
Project Warp Speed.
Yeah, Warp Speed. Everyone on that side was, I'm never going to take that vaccine. Like, you can't make me do this. You're going to be a fascist about it, and you're going to try and force it and mandate it on us. And then the moment that he was gone, instantly everything flipped. The entire time I was like, I'm not taking that. That warp speed is not how I want any medical process at all.
Yeah.
Be careful what we say about it. That's a very hot one on YouTube.
And so, like, that was the thought process I had the entire time. But the moment that Biden got in office, it was, oh, everyone has to take the jab, and you're killing grandma if you don't, and if you're going out and everything. And it was just, it was crazy to me, because you were just saying that you weren't going to do it when Trump was in office. What is the difference? It's still what he put into play. It was so weird to me to watch people's minds go around that.
Have you read about, I know I mentioned this a lot, so if you ever do watch my show, sorry, this explains so much for me, the Ash conformity experiments. So they started these experiments in the 50s, and they showed that they would bring people in, and they would draw a bunch of lines on a paper, and one would be obviously longer than the others, and they would say, pick the longest line. And they would go down the table, and everybody would be a plant except the last guy. They'd be really testing him. And they would have all the other people pick the wrong line, like the line that's not the longest, obviously not the longest. 75% of the time, the person would pick the wrong line just to go with the crowd.
Because everyone else did.
It's crazy. And that's something that you're not risking. I mean, what's the risk? You're not going along with the crowd. On something that doesn't have a lot of weight to it,
right? People
will still conform. More people than you would expect.
I'll use an example from my own personal experience. I got off a subway in New York one time, and there was a doorway, whatever it wasn't subway, but whatever. There was like 4 doors, and the entire line was going through this one single door. I'm talking like 100 people just filing in line through this one door. And I'm standing there in line. I'm looking at the other doors. Like, is it saying you can't go through there? No. So I looked around. I'm like, and I jumped ahead of these 50 other people, and I'm thinking I'm going to look like an idiot. The door's probably locked. Nope. Opened right up. And I walked through, and then I turned around. No one else went through any of the other doors. They continued to file through the one fucking door when there was 4 doors to go through.
Herd animals, though.
Yes.
That happens. I see that happen a lot when I'm driving. Like, if there's 2 turn lanes, and so you're turning left, but your immediate next turn is right a little bit down the road once you turn left. There are so many times where I just get in the left lane because the line is way too long and I'm going to miss the light, that I turn and get in front of the first car that was in the left turn, like on the other side. So I'll be like the inside lane, and then I can turn right immediately. And like, I'm not peeling out. I'm just driving. Sometimes I might peel out. But
yeah, you're driving that Mustang. You can get away with it.
I think people are starting to realize how easy it is to control the crowd or the people. I mean, you can go anywhere and you see a line, like, oh, there's a line. I don't know. Let's go stand in it. Like, you don't know why you're there. Everybody else is doing it. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do because everybody else is doing it.
Yep.
You know, but I think more people are starting to, especially after 2020, people are starting to wake up a little bit. Like, well, you got me before. I don't think it's going to happen again. Well, I would hope not. But
so
the left has been jumping the shark so much now, and it's all the massive lies. You know, after we went through 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Trump, and now 3.5 years of Biden, and they're continuing to try to say that Trump's policies don't work when everyone is feeling that pocket, and they know damn well they were much better in that period in between Obama and Biden. And a lot of people are waking up to that. So more than anything, it's definitely it's the economy more than anything else, but also, you know, I mean, we can go through the litany of policies that we know everything that Biden's been fucking up. But I know we've probably got about 20 minutes left with you, Keri, and we still haven't even gotten around to really the crux of the conversation, which is your. Oh no, you don't have to apologize. I love the flow of the conversation. I don't want to just jump back. So wait, we didn't talk about that. This has been a great conversation, so I don't want to break that up. But I think that in 20 minutes, I think we can put a great bookend and bow on this amazing conversation that we've had. And thank you so much for this. But yeah, the real thing here is what started you to really realize that your reality that you lived in was so wrong. That process you've already talked about, how dark and difficult that was to transition, and then to get to where you are now. Could you please break that down?
Yeah. Well, first I'll say, like, one of the whole goal with my channel Deprogrammed is to help pull people out of that woke cult. And trying to learn how to do that through talking to other people and talking to other people who've left it and talking to professors and cultural commentators and all kinds of people. And so one of the things I've found is that most of the people who left it, including myself, there was some kind of emotional impetus for leaving. You're never going to reach a person in that particular cult with facts. You're not. We already talked about why. Big Rob was talking about why. Like, you're not going to reach them. You can give them all the facts in the world that contradict their ideology. They're not going to listen because they're psychologically, it's, you know, for the stuff you're talking about, Adam, they're programmed. They're psychologically invested in this belief system.
Yeah.
But you can reach them with emotions. I mean, you've got to have the facts on your side, yes, but you have to hit them with emotion first, I think, and then facts. And so in my case, I went down a rabbit hole of videos on YouTube of people on my side, in quotes, leftists attacking Trump voters. And I had never seen these videos, and I didn't know this was happening because nobody in my echo chamber was talking about it. And in fact, hey, Reuven, and in fact,
big part here.
In my echo chamber, they were feeding me the opposite narrative. And so I watched these video after video of, and this is back when YouTube would actually recommend related videos after you watched one. And so it was video after video of people going to Trump rallies on purpose so they could mob and attack people who left these rallies. And I saw them chasing people down and bloodying them with bricks, throwing bricks at them, throwing eggs at them. One woman who they surrounded, and she was up against a plate glass window while they threw eggs at her. And so this just left me really shaken emotionally because I didn't feel like, I didn't see myself in these leftists. I was like, this isn't me. And this is wrong. And at that point, it's not enough for me to leave overnight. Because again, you get out of a cult slowly. But that was a severe crack in the foundation of my belief system. And at first I thought it was just a bug, like not a feature, but a bug, like, oh, we're losing our way. So I started to notice other things after that. Like I noticed that when the sniper in Dallas killed a bunch of police officers during the BLM march, there were people in my woke echo chamber who were kind of supporting it. They were kind of making jokes about, like, some old white men are going to have to die in the revolution. Okay. And just, I started to see more and more things that pointed to, like, wait a minute, maybe this isn't a bug. And when I tried to talk about it, I knew I was going to be shut down. But I thought if I found the right exact words, my friends would listen, and nope, I was shut down. And it was all the same old things that I had used. It was check your privilege, Keri. You're white. You're, it was just all the things. You're straight, this, whatever. And eventually I wrote a letter to Jordan Peterson, the psychologist in Canada. He's become really popular now. And
he's great.
He's amazing. And at the time, his videos were just starting to become popular. And I found one of his videos, and he helped me understand what I was seeing, that it wasn't me. Like when you start to leave a cult, you're like, what's wrong with me? Because this is your belief system. And you're like, what's wrong with me? And I started to realize, no, it's something wrong with the ideology. And so I wrote him a letter, and he read it on his show. And he changed some identifying factors, but I was terrified that people would find out. And I wrote him a message saying, thank you for reading it, but I'm really scared. And he was like, you have to get over that fear. It still took me 6 more months to get over that fear, because and so I understand when people are stuck in it, the things they're afraid of are real. They're afraid of losing their career, their social circle, their good name. They're going to get called all kinds of things, possibly losing their sense of security, their anonymity. My husband's helping me to say this word. I can never say this word, anonymity. And but those things are real. And I was afraid of all those things. And it took me 6 months to get over that. And I wrote like this letter. It was called On Leaving the SJW Cult and Finding Myself. And that was me trying to tell leftists, like, hey, like, speak to my friends. Like, here's what's happening with me. And do you see this too? And here's why I'm concerning some of you guys now. And it didn't work. They had an intervention for me, like an ideological intervention.
Wow.
And told me that I'm not just leaving the tribe, I'm attacking the tribe, and I'm never welcome back. And I'm like, well, I don't want to come back. So
Right.
Thanks.
Peace.
Yeah. Anyway, it was long. It was a long process. And I say all that to say the things I've noticed in common with other people is that they all seem to have some emotional thing first that opens their mind to some of the problems with the ideology. But it's never a fact, at least as far as people I've talked to. It's never, if you just show them the right statistic,
It's kind of contradictory towards the who's it? The guy that always says facts don't care about your feelings or whatever.
Ben Shapiro, yeah.
Yeah.
Made a whole rap song with that Tom McDonald.
Nice. When you're talking to the other side or just to people who have been in that mindset, you really have to appeal to their worldview, to their emotional state. Assure them that they're going to be okay. And this is just from me talking to family members, because if I start throwing out a statistic I pulled up that about whatever subject, I mean, automatically the walls go up, they get defensive. But if you start having a heart-to-heart with them and say, oh, this is how I feel, this is kind of how I came to, you start getting into the emotional side, which I'm not very good at to begin with. But if you work towards that, I've been able to get through to family better, appealing to their emotional side, and then making them go, it's okay to have a different opinion. We'll worry about the facts after, but you feel okay, you feel safe. I didn't blow up your whole worldview, and then that's the doorway. Once you can get through that.
And even though you say you may not be good at the emotional stuff, it's just like, it sounds like what you're saying is another thing I try to do in real life with people I meet who are woke, is just like humanize yourself with them. Almost like you were saying psychopaths earlier, Adam. Almost like if you got kidnapped and you want to humanize yourself with the kidnapper so he doesn't harm you. But it's like, you humanize yourself to them because they don't look at you as human sometimes. Like they don't. They view you as one of them, some of them. And so it's like you're humanizing yourself, and you're also treating them in a loving way, even though their beliefs, this has happened to me sometimes with people who, I mean, in my real life, offline, who I'm thinking of this one lady. What she kind of woke adjacent, a little more than woke adjacent. Let's say woke.
Good Jason. All right.
And she had, thought told my husband I was crazy and all this other stuff. But every time I would be around her, we'd have her in our home, I liked her genuinely, even though she had this belief system that I think is evil. And so we would bond over other things. And she knew what I thought, or she thought she knew, I think, what I thought about things. But I knew she was woke, and I didn't treat her any differently. And then over a period of years, she came to me one day, was like, I need to talk to you. We were having an event at our house, and she took me on the porch and was like, I just read this book and I understand now what you're talking about. And you know what? If all the years of just like not being, even if somebody's treating you, especially if they're in your family, okay, let's take a person in your family, for example. Even if they're, let's say you have a college kid who's woke and they cut you off and they call you all kinds of names, and you're my patriarchal father and whatever, and you're part of white supremacy, that you can still show your love to that kid without validating their beliefs, but you can still be loving to them and let them know you're there whenever they're ready. And I've talked to people who that's happened when they left woke. There, one young guy I talked to, he was like, I remembered how my father always loved me. Lovingly disagreed with me, but always loved me, even when I was calling him the worst names. And when I finally started having those cracks in my belief system, I went back to him.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. Sorry.
Oh no, you go. Oh, please. Never apologize for telling these stories. What are you gonna say, Tiff?
I was just, Keri, do you ever like look back at that period of your life? So how I always describe it, because I used to have more bleeding heart liberal thoughts when I was younger, like in my 20s. I would make excuses for like abortion. Like, well, what about stem cell research? Because my brother, that like if we had stem cells back when he was born, like the stem cell research, like the problems that he had, he'd be able to walk today type of stuff. Like I'd make those excuses just because it was kind of like what I heard. And like I look back at myself and I feel like I was just floating through life and so I was just curious if like when you look back at yourself, if it's something similar where you would just, because you mentioned it earlier, you would hear something and just take it as fact. It's not exactly what you said, but another example of something like that is my best friend in high school. Someone told her at some time that that all women are lesbians about 25%, because you can see an attractive woman and think that she's attractive or something like that. And I would hear that from other women as I got older. And it was always this 25%, every woman's 25% gay. And I would just take it as, that makes sense. Yeah. And I don't want to look into it anymore. Like, so I look back at my past self and I'm just curious, like, do you ever think like that?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like,
I picked up beliefs like that for sure. And that's why I was saying to Adam at the beginning, I kind of have to reevaluate so many things now. Man, when you leave a belief system, a cult belief system is great because they give you the answers for everything and you don't have to do any reading.
Right. There's just so many things
whatever you're told.
Now I can just go watch this movie, right? Like you did all the thinking for me, so
exactly. But aren't they the most arrogant? Like they've done all the research. Like, dude, you're just spitting back out things to me. I know you haven't read this.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I had a troll one time pop in. A lot of what I get Dan Bongino is one of my favorites. That dude, his background, he's a federal investigator in the past, heavily involved in politics. The guy knows his shit. And I had a troll one time pop into a live stream when I was quoting stuff from Dan Bongino when we're talking about Ukraine and Russia. And this guy's like, "Oh, you're following whatever this asshole says. He's blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Motherfucker, the guy actually had 20 years of federal investigation. What the fuck does the people who you're following have for experience to make you know so much?" And obviously it's nothing. They're listening to Axios or, you name it, the New York Times or whatever else. And they're just listening to these people say something and they're just taking their word for it. These people don't have any background in investigation. They're not even real journalists anymore. They're just talking head pieces for the leftists, whatever you want to call them, for the Democrat Party. But yeah, we're listening to actual facts over here, but they're still going to criticize because they heard, like you were saying, you said about like Crowder. You've never even seen Crowder, but you just assumed and knew that he must be a terrible guy because based on what you've been told. It's the same thing with Dan Bongino.
And now I think he's a terrible guy, but that's based on my own research.
Well, well, that's a different reasoning from what. Yeah, I get it. We've been
no, we don't
I'm
have to go
still a
down
fan.
there.
I'm mug club and all that, but I
still got my
understand.
mug. I still got my mug club.
Well, we're at an hour and 10 minutes. I know that you're giving us an hour and 15. So
yeah, my mother-in-law's in town. She just got here, so I want to go hang out. I want to say one caveat before I go because I was just thinking I don't want to leave them hearing me wrong. When I'm talking about humanizing yourself and treating woke people with love, I don't mean all of them. I just want to be clear.
There's some that are too far gone.
Like there's oh man, there's so many good studies, but there's one Brett Weinstein. There's one lecture he did where he calls the two different kinds of woke people basically, and I don't know if he used the word woke in the lecture, but that's what he's talking about. And he calls them the bad actors and the useful tools, the two different groups. And I think that's a good way of thinking about it, very shorthand in general way of thinking about it. But the bad actors, you're not going to reach, they're not sincere anyway. They don't care about oppression. They just want to be the ones oppressing. They're going to use the ideology to get what they can, power, money, control, whatever. They're horrible people. A lot of them have personality disorders, and they're not worth talking to unless you're talking to them with an audience that you're trying to sway. But if you determine that somebody's one of those, I don't know. All bets are off. But if you're talking to someone who's a useful tool, they're sincere. They really believe this belief system is about ending racism and sexism. They have a good heart. They're just taken by a bad belief system. Those are the ones I think it's worth.
And to go on that point, another thing that Dan Bongino talks about, and I want to harp on this before you go because it's very important in these next 6 months before the election comes up in November, is that Bongino says that when we're talking about these things, when we're talking about like if we're trying to talk to the people on the left, people would argue with him. These people on the left, they're never going to change. And he says, no, there's a third party. It's a third party that we're talking to. Those are the people who are still over there on the left who aren't feeling comfortable over there, who may not be that extreme, who are willing to receive information and change their mind when things get bad enough. And that's usually the thing. So we're not talking to those extreme leftists who, like we're saying, they're gone. We forget about them. We're not talking to them. We're talking to that third party. Those are the people we need to talk to and have them come over to our side.
Yes. And those people can change. I've interviewed a ton of them. I know a ton of them. I'm one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. Keri, thank you so much. This really has been absolutely amazing. You are an amazing person. Thank you so very much for everything that you've done, everything that you've gone through. Like we're saying, obviously, there was a very hard transition for you. Obviously, there's a lot of transitioning going on in this world right now, but thankfully, you made the right kind of transition.
That's good. I hear Larry laughing. You're behind an avatar.
I was hoping for a more rapturous laughter, but all right, I'll take whatever I can get.
It took me a second to get it. Okay.
I knew where he was going with it. It's like as soon as he was a little bit more long-winded because I've known him for a while. I was giggling the entire time. I know what he's doing.
Thank you so much for coming, Keri. I'm glad to have met you. Hopefully, I'll get to panel with you again, or even I don't know if you have a contact or something, but yeah, I would love to meet up with you again, whether it be on here or anywhere else.
I would love to. And next time, I feel like I talked so much this time, so I was telling my story. And next time we can hang out, and I won't be dominating. And I would love that. And also green-haired anti-liberal. Very
you
nice
can say
to meet
gal.
you. Gal, very nice to
It's
meet you
easier.
as well. And
You
Big
too.
Rob and Adam and yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Yes.
And I'm going to recommend some people for you that I think would
Nice.
love to hang out with you guys, who you might like talking to.
Sure. Yeah, if you like I said, if you want to send me something, I sent you a message earlier because I was
Okay.
freaking out trying to get a hold of
Yeah.
Horny Al. So I got Vets Talking on the Twitter side. I sent you a message, so you can hit me up on there.
Okay. Sounds
That'd be
good.
absolutely great. I've been dropping your YouTube link in here. Somebody on the Rumble side did say that you have a Rumble channel as well. And where else can people find you? What do you want people to check out?
Yeah, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Real Keri Smith. That's Keri Smith on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, wherever. And we're doing, let's see what I have coming up. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock Central is my live show, and I'm joined by Mike Harlow from Gays Against Groomers and Walk Away, and we're going to talk about how gay people are sick of your woke shit.
Nice.
It's a good discussion, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm gonna have to check that out. Keri, thank you so much. Been absolutely such a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
It was great to meet
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Have a fantastic evening, everyone. That is great. She's awesome.
Yeah. I've watched
She's
your show a
awesome.
couple of times.
I just hope I didn't come out too cheesy. I was like, well,
You always come out cheesy.
Hey, you're
I was like, yeah, I'd love to hang out with you. It's like, well, wait a minute.
What did I just say?
No, I mean, just I enjoy hearing people's
Stalker.
stories, and I'd love to see her back on the panel. But honestly, I think the way that this interview just went, I thought it was perfect. I mean, it's always good to get to know the people that you bring on, and you find out, you see where they come from.
Yeah.
That could not have gone better. I was so happy about it. She's sitting here apologizing for talking too much. I'm like, I
That's why
didn't
you're
want to
here.
talk. I didn't want to talk at all. I could sit here and stay quiet for an hour and 15 minutes and just let you talk. I'd be fine with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and hers
All right.
is such a great story to just get out there. Talk away, please. Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I had so many things. Like, I've got the New York governor saying that black kids don't know what a computer is. I wanted to talk about
they
that.
don't know the word computer.
It's
Like,
even worse.
just
They
the
don't even know
word.
the word computer. I
But
mean,
you know what?
you
What?
want to
Let
talk
me-
about racism.
Let me say
Holy
let me
shit.
say this to my fellow black people out there. And normally this is around the time where I would say something crazy and funny. You guys need to understand that is what these people really think about us.
Yeah.
That's what they really think. I've seen liberals out there, that aren't black out there doing all this other stuff, crazy stuff. And then as soon as you say something they don't like, it's you don't know, you don't know what's good for you. You need to just shut up and just let me put the leash on your neck and lead you along because you're not smart enough to figure it out for yourself.
That's right.
And that is the hallmark of a communist.
Yeah, that you're absolutely right. That is them saying the secret part out loud, that they don't care about the black community. They just care that the black community stays dumbed down enough for them to be able to control it.
Useful
And
idiots.
they actually do believe that they're so stupid they don't even know what a computer is, or even the word computer. That's why they
Right.
actually want people to believe that it's racist to have voter ID, because black people are too dumb to be able to get ID and they can't get to a computer to fill out forms.
Meanwhile,
you racist piece of shit.
Meanwhile, blacks and Africans are using emails to literally fish them out of their money.
Right.
But they don't know what a computer
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
Yeah, no shit. Well, God, what was that big one back in the 90s? Is the prince from a country in Africa. The Prince of Zimbabwe, I think is what it was a big fucking email phishing scam going out back in the 90s. Oh, but black people are so dumb. Even the ones in Africa know how to scam Americans out of their fucking money.
Yeah.
I got to go back through, and I'm gonna honor some of these super chats. Kratos Algrados with the $50 going back for 50. Yeah, I already said that. Wait. Oh, all of a sudden my stream deck stopped working. Well, that fucking sucks. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna depend on videos then. For those
Did
of
you
you who
mute
are
yourself?
new, huh?
I can't hear you. Did you mute yourself?
I can hear him.
I can hear him.
God, you guys
No,
suck.
Yo,
You
fuck
guys suck.
you. I would have
guys suck
absolutely
every
fucking
time.
believed you. I'm like, oh, did my whole system just crash? Oh, that explains it. All right, so we'll
Both of
go
you.
back to the videos. For anyone who's new here, of which we do have many, we do play drinking game rules, $20 more when we take shots, and we always have videos to abuse the fuck out of our lovable punchy bag, Dermy Wormy, as we do so.
Hey, help me, please. Stupid holy.
Yeah, that's right. Take that.
enough.
Are you okay?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
I'll be right back. Hey,
No,
come here.
no. I think he's out enough.
Thank you, Kratos. And this is a bad time to start doing this because my stomach just rumbled from hunger. This is not going to be good. Oh, thank you very much for that. Let's see. Modalicious was popping in here with a couple of chats. For $2, said something fucky going on YouTube. I wasn't sure what he meant. Then down here said, for $5, I appreciate the hell out of that. Said YouTube tried to censor me for saying equality is a false god. What a catty thing to do. Very less than hetero guys. Yeah, well, no shit. I mean, I guess you did eventually get around to being able to say that. So I asked somebody.
YouTube is retarded.
I have this happen all the time now, both on my iPad and on my phone. When I try to send a super chat as I'm texting, it's like it's autocorrecting every fucking thing, but it's autocorrecting in stupid fucking ways. Like if I put the word equality, it'll fucking put an extra Y at the end of it. Is that happen to anybody else? I'm not shit. I have to do this every single time. I have to double check and make sure what I'm reading because it will, as soon as I'm done typing, I'll look back like, what the fuck is that? There's like extra letters, or it is the weirdest damn thing. And it's
mine is always like it puts the wrong word or like not a word at all. It auto corrected it, like because you know how it underlines it, saying that it auto corrected it or whatever, or mine does.
But in mine, it's not even showing the line or anything. It's just changing it. It's not even changing it to a proper word. It'll be like gibberish. It is so weird, and it happens every fucking time, like multiple times. When I'm trying to send in a super chat, I'm like going type, delete, 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 type, delete, delete, type. I'm not shit.
And they've changed subjects already. And
yeah, it is so weird. Thank you very much. That's a combination of a $7. I greatly appreciate that. Yeah, normally it would be a social. I see you over there, Vat Law. I'm gonna get to you. All I have is water, though. I might grab a beer here in a minute. But thank you very much. Yeah, so weird. My fucking Stream Deck is just frozen right now. I can't that's weird. Anyways, coming down here, Spirian, $5 super sticker, just dropping that $5 and walking off. Thank you very much for that, buddy. I appreciate that. And oh my goodness, you guys are killing it. All right, thank you guys so much. I got Clinton House, drop 5. That's Talkin Tropic Thunder memberships. Thank you very much. That's $25 worth of shot right there. I am really glad that I decided to hold off on the shots until after Keri was gone.
It's probably the best choice.
Yeah, I mean that was a great conversation, and I'm very glad that I was very coherent.
She just followed me back on Twitter.
Oh, there you go. That's sweet. Let's see. To celebrate that, no, I'll already beat up on Dermy. Yeah, let's just tase him in the face.
When does that stop you?
I don't know.
That's the stuff. I like the intensity. Eye of the tiger. Good. You're holding 50,000 volts, little man. Don't be afraid to ride the lightning.
Stop! In the face! In the face!
In the face. Thank you, Clint, as always. Oh, he's great on maintaining our membership levels. Thank you so much. And I saw it, unfortunately, it didn't pop up as a notification. Usually I get notifications on here that I can highlight when somebody subs. And yeah, Keri did a sub to the channel. So thank you very much, Keri, for the sub. I appreciate that.
You're awesome.
Hey, guess what, Adam?
What's up, Larry?
Keri followed me first. I went to look, and it says she was already following me. Hey, gal. That's black privilege right there.
Oh,
there you go.
I mean, I don't know when she followed me.
Is that black people magic?
It's just when my phone gave me the notification.
See now I can't even have a good moment to enjoy my dark complectedness without.
You got enough right now.
You can never.
Guess what, Larry? The Stream Deck's working again.
Oh, good for you.
Oh, I had something I wanted to say.
All right, what I think I copied it. Over on the Rummel side. Nope, that's not. All right, well, I copied and pasted the wrong thing, but here it is again. If anybody hasn't already, I'm dropping Keri's YouTube channel again. Please do give her a follow. Obviously, you will enjoy, if you enjoyed tonight's conversation, you will obviously enjoy her content over there on the channel as well. And since Rumble is still weird with StreamYards, that law popped in at the $2. This is his comment right here that I'm dropping. It says no social until Keri is gone. Yep, so this is social. If you want to tell if it's a cult or not, do they reject the message ever? Trump would get booed repeatedly at rallies when pushing a certain medical thing. Yes. Because I mean, I guess I think the point that you're making is that they flip-flopped so quickly as soon as Trump was gone, because first it was Trump with Project Warp Speed that he was all about it, and we were not going along with it, and neither were they. Yeah. And then when he was out and Biden was in, and him and cackling Kamala were saying, now you have to take it. This is going to save grandma and everything else. Now all of a sudden they're all about it. However, yes, Trump, and this is, okay, here's the thing, is that at least we're able to admit a person's faults, but still say he's still a good guy. Trump is a fucking narcissist. I think everyone knows that.
Shut up about the vaccine,
yes, and that's my point, is that he takes that as a win. He created this thing. Him and Operation Warp Speed. He created it, and so he wanted to push because this is his baby. He was not accepting. And you gotta wonder if people were informing him this is you might be doing bad things to people, and I'm being gentle right there with the wording because YouTube is listening.
Yeah, sorry, I keep saying not.
Yeah, and I think you're good. I think it's just a combination of words tends to be what's really bad. But yeah, I hope so too.
I realized it. I was like, oh God, stop saying that. You know better.
Well, call it the Jimmy Jab. But we're booing him because dude, we don't like this. We don't accept this, and you shouldn't be either. But I think he's gotten, I don't think he's talked about it in quite a while. I think it's been a hot minute. And at the very least, he just acknowledges, understands that, we're not on board with this. Let me see. I think what did Vatlaw said? No, I mean, Trump supporters would openly boo Trump pushing warp speed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I got you. I got you, man. I appreciate the 2. Cheers. Let's see, man, you guys are killing it with everyone. I guess because I made that announcement, it's everyone was waiting to drop the super chats. You guys could have dropped the super chat ahead. I still would have read it. I'm just gonna wait until to do the shots. But I'm gonna get to do a little break here. Yo Pops, I see you, brother. Let me take a little break off for my stomach here. Big Rob, having never met Keri before, you said that you're not familiar with her. Did you? I don't know if you checked out her website. I did send you a link. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I did check out the link. I love hearing the stories like this. There's her and whoever started the Walk Away. There's a whole group now, the Walk Away campaign. Yeah. I would love for an opportunity to talk to her more.
Believe me, I wish this could have gone for 3 hours.
Because it all started somewhere. For the most part, unless you grew up in a hippie family, if you had a mom and a dad, most people kind of grow up with a simple, straightforward life, and it's at some point, and I think it's getting earlier and earlier, but usually in college, there was something that they gravitated to in college that I didn't get to experience that being in the military right out of high school. So I was never really exposed to that life. What was so alluring about that ideology, about those professors and that lifestyle? What pulled them in to make them go that route and to have that foundation or that ideology? Well, I'm curious at where it starts, and now I'm starting to see it in high school, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But also just, like breaking free of that, like what were those specific things that kind of pulled you out of that? And I just love hearing those stories being told over and over again.
And I think, and I know we've talked about this at some point or another here on the show. There are actual studies out there, by the people who are being, legitimate, doctors and psychologists and whatnot, like, like studies that she's been quoting. I'm sure she would say the same thing, that there have been the studies that have shown that it goes through the developmental process of your brain and your social environments and your experiences as a human being and as an adult, that the younger generation, when you're younger, your brain is less developed. And also you are just, you're more on the emotional side. So, if you want to get down to left brain, right brain, I don't remember which hemisphere is what, but you're much more emotionally active, and you're much more going to connect to that emotional side of things rather than the logical, especially largely because, like I was saying, with the experience factor, you think of, use our experiences in the military. We've all been there, Rob, that, when you got the young, dumb fucking privates who are just like, I want to go to war. But then you go through the experiences of war, and then you hear another young, dumb private and you want to smack them over the fucking head, be like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
So that's because of grown experiences. And so it's the same thing when it comes to liberalism. And, when we're talking about, especially with the political left, they attach, and this is the PSYOP aspect, they attach onto that target audience. I'm using PSYOP terminology here because that is a susceptible target audience for the message they want to put out. And so they use that emotion. That's why they use the istophobicism. Yeah, those shots are hitting quick with this empty fucking stomach here. They're able to attach onto that, and these children just eat it up because, one, they don't have the lived experience, but also it's that undeveloped brain, or still developing brain, that the liberalism appeals to. So, but that's also why you hear Crowder talk about this all the time, that when people grow up, you have people who are liberals who will very statistically, in great numbers, eventually become conservative because of their brain's development and their learned experiences throughout life as an adult.
It's why there's that phrase, like, if you're not a liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart. If you're not a conservative when you're older, you don't have a brain.
That I've never heard that.
Yeah,
I butchered it. It's said a different way, but that's the gist of it. Like I mentioned earlier, I did have more of a bleeding heart liberal side of it. I grew up conservative, and deep down, even like some of the things, like those were two of the examples that I brought up. Deep down, I was just like, no. I know what I'm saying, but like, I'm trying to be understanding and welcoming and seeing both sides of everything. And it just leads down a stupid path. And I just didn't like, I had to experience more life to understand why I was being so stupid.
Yeah.
It's that,
well, I mean, and you make a lot of sense. Absolutely. I mean, when I've told us before that when I got out of the Army, I was not really politically active.
Yeah.
I knew that I just align more with Republicans. I haven't told the story. I'll go into greater detail about it, but I met George Bush's vice president, Cheney. I met Cheney after I got back from Iraq. It was actually a sit down with 12 of us who had just come back from Iraq. And did I'll tell the whole story another time, but I just knew that I aligned more with Republicans than anything else. However, when I got out of the Army, I had a buddy convince me to watch An Inconvenient Truth, and again, being not very politically active, being ignorant, and that's not a derogatory term. It just means you have a lack of knowledge of something.
Yeah,
I was ignorant to the politics of things. Yeah. So I watched An Inconvenient Truth. I was still in my late 20s, I think, at this point, for 9 years in the Army. I do the math, like somewhere between 25 and 30. And I ate it up. And even at this point, I was a sympathetic tree hugger at that point. I'm like, oh my god, the planet is dying. Save the fucking polar bears.
I never got that far.
To the point, well, I mean, not that extreme, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. But it was even to the point where, like, I knew I wanted to try to go into college, use my GI Bill, and my thought at that point, I'm like, okay, I feel like I have something I want to do here. I want to get into green alternative energy. And so I thought, hey, I want to go into college and work towards an engineering degree that can help to develop new green technology. And the way to start that was fucking like environmental studies, intro to environmental studies.
Yeah.
And dude, that instructor was just the fucking most flaming fucking leftist. I mean, but I didn't, again, being politically unaware, I didn't even, I picked up on the fact the guy was gay. There's no doubt about that. I picked up on the fact that I think he was trying to like hit on me at one point, but I'm like, you're cool, bro. I don't have any problem with the gays, but I ain't all about that. But I went along with the class, and then really more than anything, because I have a brain, I did my own research rather than just absorb what he was telling me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this shit ain't making fucking sense.
Yep.
And it did not take long after that where I'm like, okay, this green energy, this fucking climate change is bullshit.
Well, and there's something to be said for green energy, like nuclear, but they don't want to talk about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. That is green energy. You're absolutely 100% correct about that. But yeah, no, we'll get into a whole nother thing about what the truth is. That's actually an energy monopoly, and they just don't want to. Okay, tinfoil hat time. I'm gonna shut the fuck up before I get myself in trouble. Let me get back in here. I gotta do some more super chats here. Yo, Pops popped in with the $20. What's up, Yo Pops?
What's up, Yo Pops?
Hey man, at some point, I can't remember if I talked to Horny Alf or not, but I got to get Alec Baldwin's finger and Yo Pops on the show sometime.
Yeah,
I think they've got their own show that they've been doing now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you would know. My freaking YouTube guru here. I knew she would know. Yeah, I got to get them on here.
Never mind.
Okay.
Wow.
I just recently did a video with some of them, not specifically.
You didn't want me to pick on you for being the freaking YouTube fucker, did you? That's why you stopped yourself. All right. Let's honor Rob here with his shaming of Dermy for $20.
Oh my! Oh. Very fat, I see. Congratulations, Mr. Sims. You are the fattest boy in camp.
All right, let's get
Get down!
And it helps if I read the super chat as well. For $20, it says, "Sup, Adam? Sup, gal? Sup, other guys? Cheers."
We hung out with him in Vegas. Yo Pops are pretty cool people.
You see, I hate having my freaking mic arm over here. I just tried to like take a shot around the mic arm, and it spilled whiskey all down the side of my fucking beard.
You could try taking it left-handed.
Well, that is left-handed. This is right-handed. Yep. But
are you a lefty?
I am a lefty. But that's not the problem, though. I'm trying to play the sound effect at the same time. My stream deck is over here, right hand. So I think I have done this before. I do cross hand. So okay. So play it and shoot. That's what I got trained more for, right there. That's the move.
Yeah, what you got against lefties, gal? I'm left-handed too.
That's right. We use more of our brain. This is scientific.
No, I'm left-handed too. How did I not know this about y'all?
Oh shit!
All freaks, all of you.
Rob, you fucking you are the
I just assumed you were righty, and then like when I lifted my left, I'm like, oh wait, that was his right.
What's this world coming to?
You're a fucking minority over here, there, Rob. Fuck you and your fucking right-handed bullshit.
I mean,
Rob, I'm normal.
To be fair, I'm only a lefty when I shoot right and eat.
To be fair,
everything else I do. To be fair.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, because I'm right eye dominant, I do shoot righty also.
See, I'm left eye dominant, but I also can shoot right. I'm just ambidextrous, basically.
Yeah, me too.
I'm with a few things also, but majority left-handed. But yeah, this is actually, I mean, when I first started shooting, I didn't shoot anything until I got into high school. Yes, junior RTC. Y'all can pick on me for that. I don't fucking care. I got into the rifle team, and I thought initially shooting left-handed, I thought I was just terrible. I almost gave up right away until my Army instructor, Sergeant Major Mott, did that fucking test. You know,
They
close
didn't
one eye.
test you to start out.
No. I know that I know your point, because that should be a first thing.
Yes.
Believe me, that should be a first thing. It's fine. Yeah. And I am, very dominantly right eye dominant.
Yeah.
And so, once I fucking switched over to right hand, obviously it felt uncomfortable at first, but my shooting fucking got so much better.
Yeah.
And you just eventually get used to it. Now I'm like, I can't even concede. Well, I mean, I can concede because I've done the training where you cross over. You know, you've got to do, weekend. That's what we call it. Yeah, dominant versus weak, which still sucks. I mean, I remember somebody somebody trying to train us that when we were in the Army, like if you're doing mount drills, MOUT, mount. I always want to say mount, right?
Everybody always
MOUT,
does.
Rob.
MOUT, yeah.
Yeah. And so, anyways, when you're room clearing, and they they trained us. You know, if you're going in this direction, it's if you're going around corners, better to switch over. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck, I can't fucking shoot that way. And then I thought the guy was a fucking flaming idiot. And then I got out and did much better training with some people. I learned that you can cross over and everything. I wonder how far back were they doing that, Rob? Because when did you go on the 75th?
2006.
Okay, so when I was with Lurs, like I said, I had a bunch of people from who were former Ranger regiment, and we never went fucking weekend. And I wonder if that was something that developed later on, especially when we came to more urban warfare.
Yeah, I think a lot of the TTPs of house to house came from like 2004, 2005, Iraq. When
So
we
do you
were
think
doing,
there was more of a push for people to learn to shoot with your
Yeah, I
even
think
have
so.
that term weekend, week on, week side?
Got sad.
When using the opposite,
I've
what
just
you do?
transition drills and the weak side. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, yep. MOUT. That's right. MC Cal CM.
It's military. What is it? Operational urban terrain site, something like that.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Big brain.
But everybody always says mount. It's just mount site.
I know.
Go to mount site. Yeah.
I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm going to say it's MC Calcium.
Yeah, I think that's Is it? Yeah, I mean, I picked up on that after I said it, but didn't I actually say that? MC Calcium.
I mean, you said it very, very slow to where it didn't really come out, and I'm looking at it. Like,
yeah,
it's calcium.
Because initially I looked at it as calcium, and then it clicked in my brain. I did.
Yeah.
Still,
You said it like calcium,
but just not fast enough for you. I got you. I got to speed things up for the Marine, apparently.
Yeah.
Joseph A, member for 2 months, says, "Okay, now that Keri is gone, social for the possibly unaware, she's been sober for a while. I did not know that, but that was like, I'm gonna assume she's not a heavy drinker. That was my big thing. I wasn't sure.
Well,
I didn't know if she drank at all, but I'm like, I'm gonna play it on the safe side.
Well, and if when you go sober, you need to be able to be around it. That's So I'm sure she would have been fine. Like if she
It's the same thing when we had Gary on.
Yes.
I told him ahead of time that that I do shots for super chats, and his reaction, and I said, "Is that going to be a problem? Are you okay with that?" He goes, "Are you fucking kidding me? My wife drinks in front of me all the fucking time. I don't care." Like, sweet, okay. And with Keri as well, I'm like, I told her ahead of time as well. I said, here's the deal: is we do this. I'm gonna do the first shot just to honor that, because I already knew one was coming. But then I'll do the other shots after we're done. But when I explain, here's the thing, guys, is that when I explained it to her, she actually laughed and said, "That's fucking awesome." So we're good. Trust me. I appreciate your concern there, Joseph, but she was cool with it. The rest said, I would have held off on the 20 if I knew it was her. She's cool. We're good. Dr. Gold for $5 says, "At least you guys didn't get compared to Mitch McConnell." Love you guys. What is that in reference to?
I have no
Mitch
idea.
McConnell. I mean, God, I hope I never get compared to fucking Mitch McConnell. Just please put me on my fucking misery. Thank you very much. Please let me know in the chat what that's in reference to. And I don't have beer in here, but if I did,
See those videos when he strokes out on camera?
Oh yeah.
Did I have a stroke?
No.
No.
You see those videos when he like strokes out on camera and he just stands.
Oh
like,
yeah, he just
stands there and
looks
stares
at
at the
it.
camera.
Yeah.
Dude, that happened.
Fuck, dude, get the fuck out of politics, man.
The amount of politicians right now that need to for those reasons, insane.
I mean, we got Joe Biden crapping his pants all over the fucking place, and Mitch McConnell stroking out. I mean,
he's just a meat suit.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. We live in a weird fucking world with this crap. Yo Pops in the $5 says Big Rob looks like Danny Trejo and Brandon Herrera had a kid together.
I love it.
That's good, Yo Pop. That's fucking good. Cheers to that, bro.
And both of those men are awesome. So it's like
Danny Trejo
duo compliment. Do you know his story, Danny Trejo?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he picked up acting skills like when he was in prison or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Like Mexican jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he just was picking up like all these side parts, and he was typecast, and there's more to it, but it's a great story.
That's awesome. Yeah. I got to hear, like, I know I just simply had people explain that aspect that he picked up on acting. He made the transition from being a fucking gangster or whatever the fuck he was down in Mexico in prison, and he is where he is now because of his prison time. But I got to look into, I've only had that told to me. So yeah, I would love to see like a documentary or something.
Yeah.
Like really go through all the details of what happened. Bubba motherfucking Ford for a 199 says, shout out Airborne Beefy, bro. That's what's up. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. And I know it's fucking very not beefy at all to be chugging on fucking water for these chats. I do gotta grab.
Okay.
I'll grab a beer here. Let's see. VAT is popping in again over on the Rumble side. Let me get a copy over here, and I'll paste it in the chat. Yep. VAT law for $2 over on Rumble says, just a side note, Mitch McConnell stroking out, Bill Clinton stroking out, two completely different things. Here all week, folks. Cheers to you, man. All right, that's enough of that. Lawrence, what do you think? Like we were talking about with oh, by the way, I want to give a shout out to a serious man who's over here, Legion of Memers. Thank you for being here, bro. I wanted to give you a shout out. I saw you in the chat earlier. Awesome dude. I've seen him at two Vegas meetups in a row. Thank you for coming over here, serious man. You're awesome. Dude. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think we all were talking about, Larry, with talking about the fucking. You know what? I gotta play this in case anybody hasn't actually seen this fucking video, which I can't imagine if you haven't seen it yet. But I still gotta play. This is Governor Kathy Hochul, governor of New York. This is what she fucking said. If you haven't seen it,
young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
All right. So
Michael,
I get real quick. Not only the fact she says the quiet part out loud that she just thinks they're so dumb, but then she compounds it with, this is why it's a good thing, because we want to use them. We want their diverse voices. That's exactly it. They want their diversity. They want to use them. That's what she's actually saying right there. That's why she wants them to be dumb.
That shit doesn't surprise me. But those fucking idiots in New York will still continue to vote for people like that.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
She's the female Joe Biden with a single brain cell. Straight up.
The
I mean-
only thing with that video, like, or with what she said, you can tell that she didn't really think through what she was saying when she first started talking about it. So she said the first thing that came to mind was, computer. Like, they don't know what the word computer is. Like, you can tell that she was thinking, oh God, what am I trying to say here? Like, I've been through that in my own brain before. However, that's the first thing that came to your mind, is saying that kids from the Bronx don't know what the word computer is. Like, I can't even defend the fact that you were just searching for a word.
It wouldn't have mattered what she said, no matter what word she put in there.
Yes. I just
Here's the thing though, too, in her defense.
Be back.
There are black kids in the Bronx that do not know what the word computer is. They're newborns.
Yeah. Are they infants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was I was actually going to make that comment earlier.
Yeah, I don't understand. This isn't like a one-off thing too, for politicians. They like, whether it's him or the I was trying to find it, but I think it was Nancy Pelosi or somebody said something similar when it was they were talking about voter ID.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sometimes they don't know how to get to the DMV or something like that. I'm like, holy shit, they just like flat out said it on fucking camera.
Yep.
Well, like, and people still vote for them, and nobody covers it, nobody talks about it. People make fun of them on Twitter for a little bit, and then it goes away. It's just like,
well, they figured that better not be a Bud Light that you just drank out of.
No, it's not Bud Light. No, it's a green koozie, dude.
I'm about to say, yeah.
Why is it in a koozie? It's blue. What's in that koozie?
Did you see the commercial? I saw a commercial the other night.
It's hard seltzer. That might even be gear.
Yeah. Instead of it saying,
I'm trying to lose weight, fuckers. All right.
Yeah, whatever. And so I saw a commercial last night. Instead of Bud Light, it said Bush Light, and I'm like, so this is Anheuser-Busch. It's Bud Light that they have now repackaged into something else.
No.
And it looks like
Bush has been around for like 30, 40 years.
No, Bush is a separate company.
Okay, well, I don't drink beer, so.
No, you're good.
Well, at least
I thought that when I was younger, but it's a different company.
Yeah, it's actually, and the reality is, it's like the recipe is actually almost the exact same, except for Bud is made with rice and Bush is made with corn. But it's almost the exact same. Yeah, it was. I've taken the two of the Anheuser-Busch companies to hear the differences. But yeah, Bush has been around for a long time.
Yeah, I froze up.
No, it is fucking silly though that Bush actually is. It is in the Anheuser-Busch. It does fall under the Anheuser-Busch company, which is why it's silly that people stop drinking Bud and start drinking Bush instead. And I'll ask them, like, that's the same company, right? Like,
it falls under the same umbrella, but it's not.
Yeah, and people will be like, yeah, but it's still not the same. Like, you're still giving money to Anheuser-Busch. It's not Bud Light that's the problem. It's Anheuser-Busch is the problem.
Well, no, technically it was Bud Light that was the problem.
But Anheuser-Busch greenlit it, didn't they?
It's the company. The company.
No. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you with that. And also, like, it's still a separate company, but it's just under the same umbrella, like it was acquired. No, I'm saying it's under the same thing. It's all under the same umbrella, but it's not the same company. They're separate companies. But Anheuser-Busch owns it. We're saying the same thing.
There is no Bush company. It's all Anheuser-Busch. There's no Bush company. It's a product of Anheuser-Busch, just like Bud is a product. It's not a separate company in any way. I took the tour there. I mean, yeah, if you can look it up. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I took the tour there, and they explained where the product came from and everything. Love you, gal.
Adam, you just mansplained to her.
I know, and I'm sitting here manspreading at the same time.
I don't use those terms. I'm literally just doing something else that I need to get done.
Okay, so talking about that. Wait a minute. We gotta do this because we just fucking played that video. So I love the reaction Terrence K. Williams is fucking so fantastic, dude.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world to open up to all of them. Because when you have their diverse voices, innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
There's a
Jesus.
I only saw the other one where
Yeah,
like
I saw
the
the
dude
other one
walking on his knuckles and shit.
Yeah, I put it in the private chat.
I've got
I
that
only did it
one
a couple
too.
days ago. That
No,
was
I've-
funny.
I've got that one too. Give me a second. I'm prepped. Actually, it's even Rastercaster who dropped this one. I assume this is the same one.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world to open to all of them. When you have their diverse voices, innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader.
God, these people are so fucking crazy. These politicians.
Oh my god. And yet they still get away with it. They still fucking get away with it all the damn time. Did you do the research here? Because Cliff Anderson says that. Yeah, you're wrong.
Yeah, Cliff will always say anything that goes against what I say.
Well, remember when Biden said to Charlemagne, if you don't vote for me, or if you can't figure out whether to vote for me or Trump, you ain't black.
You ain't black.
Holy shit, he said that. And everybody just like, it's Uncle Joe, crazy Uncle Joe. Like, okay.
Like, no. I can tell you right now, a lot of black people were pissed about that. Were pissed that he said that. But of course, you still had your programmed out there that still went out there and voted for him. You know, and I'm not gonna out a family member of mine, but I warned him, and he's a vet too. And sure enough, about a month after Joe Biden got in office, that family member called me up and said, "What in the hell was I thinking?"
And you know what? I
You
might just
weren't.
have a clip to play here.
Just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Just because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they aren't racist.
I'm like the token black.
They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators.
They're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife. They're gonna put you all back in chains.
Some very popular African American artists that are out here saying things like, oh, I got checks when Trump was in office. I want those checks again, not understanding that that really came from Congress.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
Condescending prick. Figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
There are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't, there's no Kinkos, there's no Office Max.
And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
And then we also have an issue as it relates to civics in this country and people not understanding exactly how any of this works.
We already have a nigger mayor. We don't need any more nigger big shot.
That last part went on for like a dozen more N-bombs. That's how fucked up that motherfucker is.
Dude.
This is your Democrat Party. This is your fucking Democrat Party. You want to talk about what's racist?
They always have been.
Yep.
They always have been.
And check this out too. And here's something that a lot of these how can I say activists of color that are on college campuses demanding black only graduations, all this stuff. And then when you point out to them, hey, no, it's shifted. It's the Republican Party now, and it's like I've actually said this to a couple of them. Hey, dummy, they're doing the same thing that they were doing back in the 60s, 50s. The Democrat Party is doing the same thing that they were always doing, which Joe Biden pioneered for in his youth, which was segregation. The difference is this time they figured, hey, these idiots, they're stupid enough now that we can make them think that it was their idea.
Right.
You're doing it for them.
Yeah. Oh God, I gotta do the research on this at some point. Not only one, is it factually accurate that the Democrat Party has always been the one of slavery. Back in the day, it was the Democrat Party who were the primary slave owners and wanted to maintain slavery. Tom McDonald even has a line, says Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. He's the one who ended slavery. That's an actual line from one of his songs. But yeah, the Democrat Party's always been that one. And then they simply flipped it on its fucking head to try to make the accusations that it's the Republicans who are, while they will now pander to say, hey, we'll give you free stuff, we'll give you welfare, all this kind of stuff, and including cocaine and crack into the urban communities, which that's a whole nother story we can talk about with our tinfoil hat on at some point. But there's actual fact out there. I can't remember the name of it or when it was. It had to be in the 70s, I think, when they said, hey, here's a genius idea. Let's put some operatives. Let's pay some people to put on Klan outfits and go to a Republican rally. And then we'll have all the news, take picture of it, take video of it. And then we'll be able to label this person as a KKK member. And that was the start of everything that you see now. And you do see this now. You see that, they always make the claim that we're the racist, sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic, phobophobes. But the big thing that always, that time I get it right. It did start at that time. Let's dress some people up in KKK hoods, and then we can label them. And now that is their entire fucking policy, to blame anyone who is right of center as being a racist, sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic, phobophobe. That is just there is no true policy on the left anymore. There's no true policy on the Democrat Party other than control, and they use all of these isms and phobes to simply win elections. That's all it is now.
Yep.
Off of my soapbox. Anybody have a comment on that before I drop and get to a super chat?
Super chat away, brother.
Dr. Gold for $20. I apologize that you feel like you have to drop the 20 to read this. I did see this comment earlier. I was going to get back to it. I apologize, but thank you very much for the $20, Dr. Gold. He said he was explaining, I think he dropped to $2, and we were confused by it. So he's explaining here what his comment was. He says, a black YouTuber compared me to Mitch McConnell because I made a comment not agreeing with reparations. Okay. Basically, he's comparing a young white guy to a quote unquote racist old guy. I was at work when he dropped the response video on my comment. Okay, now I got you, dude. Just it's more ridiculous, stupid leftist ideology, man. You're fucking right. Thank you very much for that. And let's see. We definitely got to punch Dermy in the nuts because. Just because. Come on, Nazi. Thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate the
20. Rob's power just went out.
Yeah.
His power went completely out?
Yeah. He said he was a storm.
Chat.
Yeah, he said whoa. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we just had oh crap. Can you hear me?
Power surge.
Yeah, we can hear
We
you.
can hear you.
All right.
Yeah,
we can hear that too.
Oh, is that thunder?
Yep.
Oh, dude. That's epic. Yeah, Keri was going through a wicked storm down there in Texas. She was worried that the dog was going to create a lot of issues, but apparently the dog is just hiding underneath the couch.
Yeah, the storms have been going on over here. A buddy of mine, the one that hit a few days ago, a buddy of mine got caught up in that. He was driving out of town, and when that 8 inches of rain dropped down in Houston, he was caught up right. It was right where he lives. Is where it dropped.
Yeah, that was Houston was flooding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard
For
about
days,
that.
yeah. And they were telling people, they were like, hey, either leave the area or stay in your homes. Like people were trapped in their homes.
Oh shit. And there goes
he's
there
really
goes
gone.
Rob. Shit.
Real quick, Adam, I do need to head out.
I had a feeling.
At work, so.
All right. Where can everybody find you? All that fun stuff.
Right here. Green-haired anti-liberal.
Green-haired anti-liberal.
YouTube, Rumble. Every Thursday, I have my Cook in the Book stream where I read to you so you don't have to.
Yeah, I got to work tomorrow too, so I was actually getting ready to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna end the stream here in a little bit here, anyways. But yeah, her link is in the video description below. Do show Gal some love, even though she looks like a liberal, she's clearly not.
It's true.
Thanks, Gal.
Yeah. I'll have a good night.
You have a great
Good
one. Thank you
chat.
very much.
Bye.
Later, Tiff. All right. Vice dropped $10 and just whipped it out and walked off and said nothing. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
I know what you're thinking. If only women did that.
What's that?
I know what you're thinking. If only some women did that, right?
Right? If only. Why it's always got to be the guys? Hours out, he says. That sucks, man. I was gonna have a convo because somebody over here dropped the my R Riga.
That's
I wanted. I
know where you got that.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, because Trump said riggers with an R in a truth, talking about the people who rigged the election. He called them riggers, and of course, everyone took that as being a racist trope.
Of course they did.
It's not, especially to anyone who is a paratrooper in the Army. That's why I wanted Rob to be here, because as paratroopers, the first thing you hear when you hear rigger are your parachute riggers.
Well, right now he's trying to rig some electricity through his house.
He's trying to rig some electricity. He is himself a rigger right now. But I heard that controversy going on. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Then every single one of us who's airborne in the Army, we're all fucking racist, using that word all the fucking time.
I used it.
Fuck it.
And I'm not even an airborne infantry.
Fucking what do we call them? Jump masters. When they're working on your shoe, like if there's something wrong, rigger.
Yep.
Yell it out. Yeah, fucking dude in the fucking maroon hat. They didn't wear berets. They actually had red hats. We'll just come run over. Rigger.
Exactly.
You think that all the black people, all the black soldiers going to look around and say, "What'd you say?"
No, actually, we didn't, and I heard it. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, whatever.
No, it's only stupid fucking white bitches in urban America or suburban America is fucking. That's stupid. Venom Blade says, "I'm not racist. I hate everyone equally." That's good military mentality right there. Absolutely. All right, let's wrap this shit up before I pass out from fucking hunger combined with whiskey in my fucking stomach. Lawrence, are you doing anything on YouTube yet?
I've done a couple of I did a couple story videos on my Knight's Lore channel, and then I've actually been on a hiatus that's gone longer than I intended to, and then I just you take too much time off, and then you get preoccupied with stuff, you get in a rut. But I'm now feeling the itch to get back into my storytelling, so I will be posting some new stuff soon.
Well, do it, man. His channel is in the video description below, but what is it?
Knight's Lore. You can also go on my Lawrence Knight channel, and I have the link in the description there as well.
Lawrence of Arabia. Before we go, one last thing, and thank you for being here. Before we go,
Anytime.
let's explore some more racism with a racist turtle. Black side. Boom. Take that, Blackie. White. Nah, you cool.
That's funny.
White.
And I bet
No
you that's
problem.
learned behavior.
No problem. Let's strip off the white. Wait.
Rigger.
Blackie. No.
Rigger.
Rigger. White. No problem. Black. Rigger. Brown. No.
Brown.
Screw you, Brown. Oh, no, white. You cool.
You could tell that is learned behavior. That is
So
learned.
no,
behavior.
I've heard that this is actually true. That there is something about, I don't know if it's all turtles or just this or specific species of turtle, but there is something about them that they have an affinity towards disliking the color. There's a scientific reason behind it. It's not just that one fucking racist turtle.
Yeah. Well, I had a friend of mine actually, and thank God she had a muzzle. She had a pit bull, and she put a muzzle on it. And
Based.
I walked in there. But,
all right, Will.
But I walked in there, and the dog let me pet. She sniffed my shoes and everything. It was fine. But when I got in there, when she looked up and saw that I was black, before I knew it, she had jumped up, was straight for my throat, and bounced off my chest.
No shit.
I mean, she went nuts. She jumped, she hit my chest about 3 times before I could react, and then went for my ankles, and she was trying everything she could to get that muzzle off. And my friend just standing there screaming, "Ah!" And her boyfriend was running out of the shower. So now I'm looking at this guy that's pushing 300 pounds. He's in nothing but a bathrobe soaking wet, and he was just like, he was like, the hell's going on? And then my friend tells me, she was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Her previous owner was black, and he used to abuse her. So he does. So she doesn't like any blacks that wears hats and glasses, and I have both on. And she was like, man, I'm sorry. I should have told you that. And I just looked at her. I said, if that dog did not have a muzzle on,
you'd be dead.
Yeah, I'd have been dead, because she would have ripped my throat out.
Yeah.
Before I would have even known what happened.
My old dog, I can't recall other incidents of it happening, but I did have one black dude came into my home one time. She barked her ass off at her. This is a dog who loves every fucking bite. She was an American bulldog, 90 pounds, big dog, looked like a pit bull, but she wasn't. But she only reacted to this one dude, though. I swear she's seen other black people, but this one dude. And sometimes dogs do have just a way of picking up on personalities, I guess. But I have always wondered if, like, as far as like animals in general, here's the truth. We were joking about this before. Truth is, animals are racist. They don't like other species of animals.
No, they don't.
Do you ever see a blue jay hanging out with the fucking cardinal? No, they don't hang out in the same groups. Animals are naturally, instinctively wanting to hang out with their own species / race.
That's true.
It's absolutely true in the fucking animal world. So, but with that thought process in mind, there's always the joke about that dogs, hate black people. Well, maybe the dog has just never been around a black person at all, has only been around white people, and now you see this different colored human being, and I should be instinctively suspicious of them because I've never seen this before.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes
and then
sense.
of course in a situation like what you were talking about, where the dog was actually beaten by a black dude.
Yeah.
That is learned behavior right there.
Yeah, it is. And I feel bad for that dog, but I tell you what, I would have felt worse for me.
You're right. Yeah, no shit, huh?
Because that dog was going after me like there was no tomorrow.
They both hate Orioles too, as well as Boston fans. This is true too. Yeah, Toronto hates St. Louis. Blue Jay on Cardinal hate. Thank you. All right, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate the fuck out of this. This has been a great night. Absolutely fantastic talking to Keri. It sounds like she is probably down to come back on again, which would be fucking awesome. We were actually supposed to have her on last Thursday, but there's a lot of miscommunications, big failure on my part. Horny Alf does all this booking, and he always does tell me ahead of time, but I forgot to put it on my calendar. So I set up the topics and everything, and I already uploaded the stream, and I'm like, I can't just change it. So we asked her to change to this week. So anyways, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for being here. Anybody who's new, thank you guys very much for being here. Make sure you're double tapping that like and subscribe. Anyone out there, if you haven't already, beat the absolute fuck out of that like button. Will be greatly appreciated. Definitely helps out around here. Every little bit helps. And let me get up here. I'm trying to compose myself because I'm not joking. I'm extremely fucking buzzed with an empty stomach full of fucking whiskey right now. Not a good combination. But thank you, Lawrence. Thank you to Keri, everyone else who was on here. Thank you to the chat. Thank you so much for the super chats. Absolutely amazing. You guys are keeping the lights on. And I already said double tap that like and subscribe, but as well, share this out there if you enjoy this content. You can share this out there with everybody because you don't got to be a veteran. Just don't get butthurt. You've been warned.